The first half of 2026 has been an absolute roller coaster for PlayStation fans. Between sudden shifts in single player console exclusivity and the outright shutdown of multiple first party studios, the landscape is shifting faster than ever. And if you thought things were stabilising, think again. Rumours are currently swirling from industry insiders that a massive summer bloodbath is heading to Bungie, with reports claiming that Sony is preparing to lay off at least 50% of the studio's entire workforce following the conclusion of Destiny 2's content updates. With the entire industry in a state of chaotic flux, I've been doing some serious digging online to piece together the exact status of every single PlayStation studio, what they're actually working on, and we'll talk as well about who's actually safe in this climate. Let's start with Santa Monica Studios, and they had a great showing at the recent State of Play event. They officially revealed God of War Laufey. It's a new mainline title, but this time it's set in the afterlife realm, and it is Kratos' wife who you are playing as here. You're traversing the insane world and crossing paths with Egyptian gods of war, it looks like. The combat looks really good. A lot of juggling the bad guys. Kind of reminded me of the combat in the Spider-Man games a little bit, you know, in the air combat. You've got a whole bunch of like double jumps and aerial combos, and according to reliable industry insiders like Nate the Hate and Bloomberg's Jason Schreier, the game isn't far away at all, and it's actively targeting a release window of the first half of 2027. So within the year we should have this in our hands. But that's not all. Santa Monica also confirmed a God of War trilogy remake is in the works, with the legendary TC Carson returning as Kratos. Game director Ariel Lawrence hinted that these will be released as multiple individual games rather than one massive collection, which is a bit weird. And we can expect the first part to land around 2029. Next, we have Naughty Dog. We are still waiting on a proper update for their next massive project, which is the big sci-fi project Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, which was announced back at the 2024 Game Awards. So it's definitely not releasing this year, I would say, is a safe bet. So all eyes are on summer or holiday 2027 being the possible launch window. After the random cancellation of The Last of Us Online back in 2023, fans are, eager for a fresh single player experience from this team. Interestingly, reliable sources indicate a second team at Naughty Dog are actively developing a brand new entry in the Uncharted franchise. Whether it's a sequel or a prequel or a remake, we have no idea, but Uncharted is officially on the way back, and that I'm happy about that. That's good news, I think. Over at Insomniac Games, they continue to absolutely carry the production pipeline for this hardware generation. No doubt they are the MVPs for PlayStation in the PS5 era, I think. Their next major mainline title is Marvel's Wolverine, locked in for a September the 15th release date this year. Insomniac has confirmed that it's a tighter, brutal, linear experience rather than an open world game like the Spider-Man games, which sounds good. It'll be a good change. I'm excited to see how linear it is. And beyond Logan, we've got some developer leaks confirming that a standalone Venom spin-off game is real and is currently being maybe positioned as a cross-gen launch title for the upcoming PS6. Sounds very interesting indeed. I actually thought Venom spin-off would be a DLC for Spider-Man 2 or maybe even Spider-Man 3, but we will see what happens with that. And then rounding off the big players, I would say Guerrilla Games, they're up there. They remain completely locked into the Horizon train here. Right now, the bulk of the studio is working on Horizon Hunters Gathering, which is a co-op focused project for PS5 and PC. And it's wrapped up a whole bunch of closed player test weekends. I think this looks terrible. I'm really not feeling this at all. It looks like it's another one of these live service pushes from Sony. But because of this heavy focus on multiplayer, Bloomberg is reporting that the inevitable, Horizon 3 is still years away, likely pushing it into the late 2020s or even the early 2030s, which is a bit disappointing. I'd rather see that than this Hunter's Gathering malarkey. With all of these heavy hitters lined up though, I want to pause for a second and ask you guys and gals, which of these upcoming games from PlayStation Studios are you actually most excited about? Drop all your thoughts in the comments right now, because I want to get a good debate going, because I love chatting to you about all things gaming. I'll be responding to every single comment, so go do that right now. Now, moving away from the established blockbuster studios here, let's look at the studios tasked with, building entirely new IPs or reviving some cult classics. First off, we've got Firesprite, which is a studio I think we need to watch. After their live service Twisted Metal game was shelved and just canned in 2024, which I found really bizarre. I'd love to see a new Twisted Metal game returning. I don't know why. You think that would be a simple win for Sony. The strategic reports indicate they have had multiple projects in active development. The big one, which we know about now, obviously, is Until Dawn 2, which has been quietly in development since 2022 and should be with us soon. The story apparently follows a group of fake ghost hunters filming a TV show on a remote island, and from what we've seen of this one so far, I think this one looks good fun. The mystery second project is currently code-named Project Pillar, but details are still completely under wraps. Meanwhile, Media Molecule is officially moving on from Dreams, which is a shame. I think Dreams had a lot more potential. Industry leaks have revealed that they are actively building a brand new original IP that, surprisingly for them, features a major open world. It's a massive departure from their traditional user-generated content style of game, and it's been in full production since late 2023, so fingers crossed we'll hear something soon. As for Team Asobi, following the insane success of Astrobot, which was just so good to see, winning Game of the Year, fantastic. We need more games like this in my opinion. They have officially concluded all their post-launch updates for the game, so they are already deep into development on their next major title, which will surely be another 3D platformer masterclass from them, designed to show off what either the PS5 hardware can do, or who knows, it might even be a showcase for what the PS6 hardware could do. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. Then there's Bend Studio, and it has been 7 years, wow, since Days Gone launched, and they were kept busy with the PC port of the game and the 2025 Days Gone remastered on PS5. Their original live service game, code-named Mirror Pond, was completely cancelled by Sony last year. Recent job listings reveal they are hunting for a creative director to lead a new AAA project that still features multiplayer elements. Let's hope they get into gear soon and we see something exciting from them. Now we have to talk about the darker side of the PlayStation 5 generation, and you know what I'm going to say? The live service pivot and all the studio closures and just destruction it has left in its trail. As we mentioned at the top of this video, Bungie is facing an incredibly tough time, it's looking like. Hopefully it's not going to be as bad as reported. After launching Marathon this year, the game has severely underperformed commercially relative to its massive $200 million budget. It's just eye-watering stuff. With Destiny 2 content updates officially finished and Destiny 3 confirmed to not even be in development, it is not a thing. Journalists are reporting that a massive 50% staff reduction is imminent. Ouch. Sony's $3.6 billion acquisition is looking more and more just like a complete disaster by the day. I really do not know what's happened there. If you have any opinions on that, I'd love to hear them down below in the comments. Now, this live service pivot and the economics around it has already claimed 2 other major studios this year alone. Number one, and this was a sore one, Blue Point Games was officially shut down by Sony. The masterminds behind the Demon's Souls and Shadow of the Colossus remakes were forced to spend years working on a live service God of War spin-off game, it was reported. When that got cancelled, they tried pitching a Bloodborne remake, which I think people would have been over the moon about, which then From Software didn't give the green light for, and a Ghost of Tsushima spin-off, but Sony decided the best course of action was to pull the plug on the studio entirely. Similarly, Dark Outlaw Games, a studio formed under Sony by Call of Duty Zombies veteran Jason Blundell, was shut down just one single year after its public announcement to everyone, which was so bizarre. Like, you wonder why they set up these studios and then nothing has been delivered and then close it already. What is going on behind the scenes here? I would really love to know. Despite these closures, Haven Studios is somehow still pushing forward with their multiplayer game, which has officially been trademarked under the name Breakin'. It used to be called something else before that. What was it called? Fair Games, I think it was called previously. Founder Jade Raymond left the studio a year ago, and reports from the closed alpha playtest indicate that public and internal reception is pretty negative towards all this, drawing comparisons to the pre-launch environment of Concord. Oh yes, nobody wants another Concord, do we? Sony is supposedly making this free to play to try and save the game, but let's be honest, it sounds like it's facing a massive uphill battle. I think people in general are just burnt out and fed up with live service games. Well, I know I am. Let me know if you are. Let's fly through the remaining internal studios and the massive third-party partnerships. First, the reliable internal first-party teams. Polyphony Digital, no surprises here, it is still pulling in a massive 2 million active monthly players on Gran Turismo 7. This is years after the game's launch, so unsurprisingly, Gran Turismo 8 is in active development. I bet that game is going to look stunning on PlayStation 6 hardware. Then we've got San Diego Studio. No real surprises here either. They will continue to pump out MLB The Show annually, alongside a new mobile project they're working on. And then we've got Housemarque Games, which is kind of interesting, following the launch of the new Saros game in April 2026. They are likely working on upcoming expansion content for that game, but how safe is the studio from cuts? Who knows, as Saros did not sell as well as was hoped. So only time will tell. I'd personally love to see another Resogun game from them, as that was just such a fun game on the PS4. Then we have to look closely at Sony XDev. For those unfamiliar, XDev is PlayStation's global support branch that steps in to fund, produce and co-develop games with external third-party partner studios rather than teams Sony directly owns. They've had tons of hits over the years, so this is cool, this is still going on. And their upcoming collaborative pipeline looks pretty stacked. Arc System Works is actively developing Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls via XDev, which looks like a stunning 4v4 tag team fighting game featuring a big roster of Marvel superheroes. Then we've got Kojima Productions, which is partnering with XDev on Fizzant, a next generation cinematic espionage IP that is explicitly being built as a flagship title for the PlayStation 6. I just get vibes of a new Kojima PlayStation 6 Metal Gear Solid. Oh, how sweet that would be. And People Can Fly is working under the XDev umbrella on Project Delta, a AAA shooter explicitly based on a classic returning PlayStation IP. Very interesting. I wonder what that could be. PlayStation's got some pretty cool FPS games from back in the day. Let me know what you'd like to see being revived. Now, PlayStation's first party lineup is clearly caught between two completely different worlds right now. Legendary single player blockbusters, which I think is one of the big selling points of PlayStation, and then this high risk live service strategy that is actively costing people their jobs and shutting down beloved studios as companies just try and emulate and copy the success which Fortnite had years ago. Hopefully, there are still more game surprises we don't know about yet, which are, still to be revealed soon. If you want to know what the future of the PS6 might look like, and it's looking very expensive, click on the video on your screen right now, and I'll see you over there.